I'm Austin Carter reporting for My Kind of Town. Today we're going to visit Riverside's only winery.
Well, we don't have the vineyards out front or out back. We bring in the juice on a refrigerated truck from around the world. We have French Merlot, German Gewürztraminer, Italian Pinot Grigio, just all kinds of wines. We get or all kinds of juices. We get our juice from the best vineyards around the world.
Now, do you actually provide the tub where you put the grapes where they can stomp on it?
There's unfortunately no stomping required, though some people would like to do that. We do have the capability, though, of giving somebody a packet of yeast, and they get to pitch the yeast, it's called, onto the grape juice.
How long does it take to create a bottle of wine?
About 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
There's a fermentation period of 2 weeks, and fermentation is simply the yeast consuming the sugar in the juice, turning it into ethyl alcohol, which makes wine. So to start the wine, the only thing that we have to do is not talk while we're actually pitching the yeast. It'll just take us a few seconds, but we don't want to talk during that time because our breath actually contains some moisture and some bacteria and stuff we don't want to get into the wine. All right, no talking. Here we go. There we go.
Done.
That's all there is to it. So the 2 weeks up here then is followed by 4 weeks of settling. We rack the juice out of these primary fermentation containers into these large jugs down here on the floor. And racking is simply siphoning. We use a gravity type of a siphon process. So he's bringing the wine down into another container, and in that process he's leaving behind the sediment that's already accumulated in the bottom of the fermentation vessel. After he transfers it into this intermediate vessel, he'll do something called degassing to get some of the carbon dioxide that's still in the wine out, and he'll add a couple of fining agents, a couple of natural products that help to precipitate the solids down to the bottom of the carboy. It's necessary to put it into a sealed container like the carboy so that no oxygen will get into it, and so that any gases that are still in the wine can get out through the airlock.
And this is the final step before...
This is the level where it needs to settle for the next few weeks. It needs to precipitate to the bottom, the solids, so that you'll have a nice, clear, polished wine that you'll enjoy drinking. People have a great time bottling wine. It's a party. It's a chance to get together with friends, and everybody gets a chance to participate. People are trading off different jobs, different parts of the bottling process, and then their friends are taking pictures. And
You are a regular customer here?
Yes.
And
yes.
you've bottled wines before?
I was actually their first customer.
Really? And you've bottled your own wine?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you show us the process for how it's done?
Sure. This is a Cab Merlot, am I correct? Basically. Easy fit. This is ready to be pulled off. And voila, a bottle of wine.
Well, what's the next step?
Come over to a corking device.
What's the advantage of doing it yourself here versus going to a vineyard?
Here it was real nice. It made it personal, and I was able to use that touch. And when you give it out, that this was strictly from me. I did the bottling, I did the fermenting, I did all of the things to make the wine, and so it was a more personal touch than going and buying wine from, say, another place and being able to just hand it out. There was no personal touch to it. This actually had my name attached to it.
One of the opportunities that we give people here is to really have a hands-on involvement with bottling their own wine. so that then everybody gets a chance to try the new wine as they're bottling it. And then usually they get to, each person go home with a bottle with a custom label on it and something to commemorate the occasion. So here's how we put the capsule on top of a bottle of wine. It's a heat shrink element, and we just push it right up into the heat element like so, and then there we go. Now it's ready for labeling. Very good. And what would you like to say on there?
I wrote it here for you. A little wine and song from your friend Ron.
All right. Okay. In history, there have been neighborhood wineries or storefront wineries going back actually to the Old West. But the concept is a fairly new one in modern times, and it provides us the capability of bringing wine country to your backyard.
So, are you ever tired of wine?
You know, sometimes after drinking wine all day, I'd like to go home and just have an iced tea.